Hi everyone, and welcome back to Planting for Wildlife. I absolutely love Pulmonaria. It's one of my favourite plants. I'm not sure of the variety that I first grew back in my first garden, but it had beautiful silvery foliage, and being a bit of a hosta collector, it was the perfect plant to combine with the growing collection. The silvery foliage contrasting perfectly with the darker greens and blues of the hostas. Of course, Pulmonaria also has beautiful flowers, and in the springtime you can normally hear the bees buzzing around this plant before you can even see the plant itself. I have two different varieties in this garden. The first one can be a little bit hard to get hold of in the UK sometimes. It's called Cotton Cool, and it has particularly long silvery leaves with flowers that open pink before turning blue. I first saw this variety used by my planting design hero, Nigel Dunnett, in one of his designs. He used it as a so-called matrix plant to dot throughout the planting, a little bit similarly to how he normally uses ornamental grasses. The second variety that I have is this one. It's called Raspberry Splash, and it has a really striking pattern to the foliage, with raspberry coloured flowers which turn more purple as they age. I really love the colours of this one, and I've planted quite a few both throughout the new birch grove that we created earlier in the year and also in pots as part of the patio display. This variety also clumps up nice and quickly. Once your Pulmonaria has clumped up, it can be divided really easily, and autumn, especially a grey, damp, drizzly day like today, is the perfect time to be dividing your plants. So let's have a look at how to create some beautiful new Pulmonaria plants for free. You want to find the biggest clump you can, then dig it up, keeping as many of the roots intact as possible. One warning though, you may want to wear gloves when handling these plants, as the leaves have a bit of a sting or prickle to them. Once you've dug it out, shake and brush off the excess soil to expose the roots. Within the roots, you should be able to see individual nodules that have their own roots attached, and each of these can be split off to create new plants. Sometimes you can just use your fingers and nails to break apart the nodules. I tend to be a bit more of a bare hands gardener in this way. If not, just use a small knife, being careful of your fingers. Once you're done, you should have a good number of bare root plants. I got 4 large clumps and 1 smaller one from this single plant. If you already know where you want the new plants to go, large clumps can be planted straight back out into the bed. Or for smaller clumps, or if you don't know where you want them yet, just put them up into containers. I've used a 5-litre container, which is probably a bit on the large side, but it should mean that I don't have to repot them up again into larger containers next year. The compost I'm using is a mix of standard garden compost and some seed sowing compost, just because I had some left over, but pretty much any compost will do. I also added a bit of compost when planting straight out into the bed, just to give the plants the best start they can have. Once you're done, give them all a good water, then leave the containers outside over the winter. In spring, these should start to put on new growth and even give some flowers in their first year. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop it a like and subscribe. And until next time, enjoy the wildlife in your garden.